Now, you said to us last time you were on the show that you'd be heading to Poland for the 80th anniversary commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz. Look, here is the King speaking at the Jewish Community Centre in Krakow.
The act of remembering the evils of the past remains a vital task. And in so doing, we inform our present and shape our future.
Now, we're going to show some of your personal photos as well, but what are your reflections on the commemoration?
Well, a true assault on the senses, certainly. I mean, if it's the first time I have been to Auschwitz, accompanying the King for his first time at the former Nazi concentration camp. And I found that fact astonishing. He's had 5 previous official trips to Poland. He became the first British monarch to visit Auschwitz. And such an important occasion, such as the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the former camp. And you saw King Charles become quite emotional at some points, listening to the stories of survivors at the commemorations. I was there just shoulder to shoulder with him when he was being taken through Auschwitz, the first camp that was formed at Auschwitz. And he was asking pertinent questions. He was talking about the young children that were snatched from their mothers when they arrived at Auschwitz. He was looking at the tiny shoes, talking about his own research. He'd learned about children as young as 2 had been sent to the gas chambers. And his guide, Marta, who'd been working there for over a decade, told me that she really felt he had a true understanding of what it was like to be at a place like this. And we know that King Charles has had, huge work in the space of community cohesion. He's worked with a lot of interfaith leaders, and I thought it really had a profound effect on him, as it did for me. It's certainly a place I'll never forget going to, and listening to the stories of the survivors, a real special occasion, and something we should all heed to never forget these the horrors of the past.
And look, I absolutely agree with you there. I went myself in 2008 and it changes you. And I don't know anyone who it hasn't changed. But also this week, and in a totally different vein, the King and Queen held a reception at Buckingham Palace for the MPs. Many familiar faces in attendance, Russell. Tell us about this event which kicked off the beginning of the parliamentary year.
Well, it's been a busy time for the King. He's a bit of a stop-start last year, of course, with his cancer treatment that is still ongoing. He wanted definitely to attend the Auschwitz commemorations. And this is a really important event for him as well, because when there is a new session in Parliament, the monarch of the day invites all the new MPs to Buckingham Palace, and you could see a few of the newbies jostling for position, trying to get their photo opportunity. Nigel Farage was at one side of the room, I was told, and trying to get close to the King. He didn't quite make it. He was talking to the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. But in terms of our parliamentary process, this is a really important period in the calendar. It signifies, the monarch's relationship with his new government, and certainly it's great to see King Charles doing these engagements again, because they are coming thick and fast throughout the start of the year. Of course, we've got his trip to Italy coming up as well in the spring. So fingers crossed he'll be fit and fighting fit for that trip, because he'll be looking forward to it.
Well, he has started the year very strongly, so let's hope that continues. And Russell, on occasion we speculate about whether Harry will make a return to the UK. Now, that rumour has popped up again this week. What sparked it?
Well, it's interesting because, as you say, this does crop up from time to time. I mean, of course, we've got a new president, President Trump, in the White House at the moment. He's been pretty vocal about Prince Harry's chances of getting a visa renewed, or, I think he's got bigger things on his plate at the moment. But, of course, we were expecting Harry to be in the UK when he had his trial against News Group newspapers, which he settled out of court on just the first day of the trial. So interesting whether Harry would come back. I don't think he will come back. I think he does miss the UK, but there are some serious issues at play. He's still got his appeal with the British government, the case that he took to the High Court about his security. He's got a case next year as well against associated newspapers. So it's pretty full on for Harry at the moment. Whether he will come back to see his father, he hasn't seen him in over a year. Surely he'll be missing the opportunity to see his dad, having not come over here for the court case. So I think it's very much a case of watch this space for Harry.
Yeah, we're always watching that space, that's for sure. But Russell, a great piece in the Telegraph this week, and I absolutely love this. And it's about the King seeking young ambassadors to keep British heritage crafts alive. Now, the King really is a conservationist in so many senses. What does he have in mind with this initiative?
Well, you're right. I mean, he's a conservationist, he's a traditionalist as well. And through the King's Foundation, he's appealing for 35 traditional experts, if you will, people who have learned the craft of being a blacksmith, textiles, basket weaving, thatching, the real traditional elements of history that have really gone by the wayside. And I think that it's a really important work for his King's Foundation. He does a lot of work at Dumfries House in Scotland with these sort of traditional art. So if you are one of these traditionalists, you could potentially be an ambassador for the King's Foundation. You could be rubbing shoulders with people like David Beckham, who is becoming ambassador of the King's Foundation. So head towards the King Foundation site, the Dumfries House site as well, because this is something for everybody. And a good on King Charles for keeping the traditional spirit alive.
It's such a good yarn. And just to finish off on a giggle, well, it's a giggle for me. I thought it was hilarious. The King has asked for a submarine to be renamed so as to not offend the French. Now, we got about 30 seconds. Is this real?
It is incredibly. Apparently, King Charles has got involved. There was a HMS Royal Navy submarine going to be called HMS Agincourt over the English victory over the French in 1415. Charles has got involved. It's going to be called HMS Achilles now. He didn't want to offend his French neighbours, despite it being signed off by his late mother. But, King Charles keeping the peace, shall we say, for this one.
Always. Russell Myers, thank you so much for joining us this evening.